again to Creative Connections. I'm Gary Blanchard. Today my guest, Serena, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I have to say that this is the second time you've been on. The first time, unfortunately, the hard drive ate the show. So it's not often you get a do-over.
Technology is not always the best thing in the world.
So I've got the impression that you have always been musical.
Yes, yeah.
Where did you start? What started you in music?
I started singing really little, I just was loud and would just yell a lot. Like my dad called me Serena, and I just would scream at the top of my lungs. I just liked to scream as loud as I could.
Okay.
And I think that I was developing my singing voice at that point. You know, the very first time I sang I had a solo in a school thing, I was in the first grade. So I loved it ever since. I always wanted to be on stage. And I always watched the old musicals with my grandmother, Shirley Temple and all Singing in the Rain and all those kind of movies. And so I was and she watched me when I was little. So I think there was always musicals around and singing cartoons, and that was the 90s, and all the Disney movies had songs in them then.
Okay.
So I don't know, I've always loved music.
Okay, and when did you start playing guitar?
I didn't start playing guitar till I was 15, 16. I kind of picked up my dad's guitar. He had an old Ibanez that he had since he was 18. He picked it up, brought it in the Army with him, and it, kind of was his friend when he was in basic training,
Yeah.
And but he didn't really play that much, he kind of picked it up in his travels, and then, it was just kind of a cool thing to have. But I took piano lessons, starting in kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
Until I was about 9, but I broke my arm, and then I broke my other arm.
Oh.
And then the Spencer Music Shop where I took the lessons, they shut down the music shop, and my mother would have had to drive me to Worcester. My brother was little, so it wasn't really gonna happen. So I don't really play piano anymore. I kind of still mess around, but I've never actually played it out or anything. I just play guitar out.
Okay. And when did the songwriting start?
I was probably I always remember singing songs when I was little. I have a brother that's 5 years younger than me, and a lot of little cousins and stuff too. And we'd always sing songs and make songs up and everything. And my mom has stuff that I always like to write. I kept journals even when I was in elementary school.
Wow.
I have that kind of stuff, and stories and stuff like that. So I think it's just something I always had, but it didn't really hone in on it until kind of recently.
Okay. And where do your songs come from? Do you usually start with an idea, or do they just...
I don't know, it kind of depends. Sometimes I get a witty one-liner. A lot of my songs kind of come out sarcastic, even crass maybe sometimes, but I do have nice songs too, but sometimes I'll think of something funny or clever, and I'll just jot down one-liners and then make a whole song about a one-liner. I have a friend that we kind of get together and we write songs together, Jim Cook, I don't know if you know him.
Okay.
And he belongs to the Nashville Songwriters Association. He's really passionate about trying to write a hit country song. So that's kind of funny. So I thought of a one-liner, the backup plan man, and then so we wrote this whole song about a backup plan man, your standby boyfriend. So that was kind of funny, but yeah, I get myself into trouble sometimes with these with my sense of humor.
Sometimes a sense of humor is a blessing, and sometimes it is a curse.
Oh yeah, because a lot of people laugh, but then feel bad about laughing when I play that song. Oh, that poor guy.
Oh my! Why don't you play a song for us?
Okay. Well, let's see. This one is a little bit more on the witty side. I'll play "Don't Go Falling in Love with Me." This is kind of when you go through your I'm unavailable, don't talk to me phase, I'm just an independent woman, so I kind of wrote this for the guy at the bar that like wouldn't leave me alone, you know, and wouldn't take a hint that I wasn't interested, you know. All right, anywho. Right about now, I know you're thinking I'm not just trying to be nice. There must be something more diabolical behind these eyes. And if you met me 10 years ago, you'd be right. I've come a long ways. Don't go falling. Checked my schedule, says I got no availability. Say you wanna take a chance, think you're gonna wait and see. Well, don't say I didn't warn you, boy. Don't go falling in love with me. Ooh, don't go falling. Don't go falling, 'cause I won't take credit for your bitter, broken heart. Maybe you should have listened better when you told me from the start. When I said you can't have my heart. But right about now, I know you're probably picturing me in white and bouncing babies on my knees, and I'm sure they've got your eyes. Oh well, maybe I've got bigger plans for my life. I'm gonna go a long way, so don't go falling. Don't go falling in love with me. I checked my schedule, says I got no availability. Say you wanna take a chance, think you're gonna wait and see. Well, don't say I didn't warn you, boy. Don't go falling in love with me. Ooh, don't go falling. Ooh, don't go falling. Ooh, don't go falling. Ooh, don't go falling. Don't go.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so you were recently involved in a songwriting contest.
Yeah, so Padavano's place on Shrewsbury Street, well, it's just kind of off Shrewsbury Street in Worcester, did an 8-week-long songwriting competition with a $1,000 grand prize.
Wow.
So I entered in it. So the way they did it was they had 8 different weeks, and they had like 8 different people on every different week. Performing, and everybody paid $10 to get into it, and then they picked a winner every night, and then at the end of the 8 weeks they had the 8 winners play for the $1,000 prize. And then they had like some, you know, sweet second and third place prizes too. You know, Angela put up money to Padavano's. Angela Padavano, the owner, put up money to the restaurant. You know, like gift certificates and stuff. So, so yeah, it was pretty cool, and it was such a fun night because I got to see like everybody got 3 songs. So it was, you know, 2.5 hours, and you got to see 8 different amazing people, you know, just pouring their heart out in song. It was really cool.
There seems to be a real renaissance of songwriting.
Yeah, it's great.
So you've started a songwriters group, is that?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to kind of, there's there's associations around, and a lot of them are kind of a little further out into the bigger cities. Like I know there's one in Putnam that Kayla Farnham hosts, and I think she does, I forget where I forget the name of it, but Kayla Farnham hosts it. And so there's one in Putnam. I know there's another one, Riza, in Rhode Island. But there wasn't really an active group out our way, and definitely not out like in the Brookfields in this area. So I started the Podunk Players Songwriting Association, and it's kind of taken a little bit of time to like nurture it and get it off the ground. But we're like picking up steam. We kind of do things like, I don't bring my PA, I don't plug anybody in.
Right.
We just sit around, like writer's circle, like when I had creative writing class, you know.
Okay.
And I wanted it to feel like, I didn't want it to feel like, I wanted it to be so that people were running their rough stuff by each other. We're all peers, let's get together, let's play our stuff that we're working on, let's talk about our process, and you know, kind of, you know, hone in on stuff that
Right.
for the process of cranking out more music.
Yeah, you know, and that's interesting because so much is really focused on the performance end of things. Mm-hmm. And for songwriters to have a chance to really network and to share their work and to get feedback.
Yeah, I think it's really important.
I think it really is. And having it in a more relaxed format without the microphones, without plugging in.
Yeah, nobody's watching.
Right,
you know, we
right.
sneak off. Starlight's kind of a cool place where they have the bar over here, and then they have double like entry, and then they have curtains. So we have our own little space with a big couch, and we just kind of cozy in. And you know, sometimes there's 2 of us, sometimes there's 10 of us, and you know, it's kind of nice when there's a small group because that's when we really work.
Right.
And I think I kind of started this because I realized that my songwriting had stalled because I wasn't putting the time into it, and I was like, I need something that is going to make me want to sit down and write just to write, even if I'm not, the muse isn't like whispering in my ear at that minute, you know, because sometimes you just are excited to write, but sometimes
Right.
you have to really like, well, I haven't sat down at my desk in 4 weeks, you know, I probably should, you know.
Right.
So it's like sometimes it doesn't come so easy.
What usually comes first, the music or the words?
For me, I think my songs that come out the smoothest with the least amount of overthought, I write the music first.
Okay.
I tend to, if I write the poetry first, then I get wrapped up in the words, and then I lose the rhythm.
Okay. All right.
That's how I feel about it.
So, what else do you have coming up?
So last year, Amy Kiernan and I, we played together in the Ugly Girls band. That's a duo that I'm in with Amy Kiernan. And last year we opened for the Vagina Monologues in Munson, and this year we were actually asked to open again, but they asked us to read during the play. So
Okay.
I'm really excited about that. There's a really great group that puts it on. It's Munson Against Violence Everywhere. They go by Maeve. This is their big event of the year. They do it in February because of Valentine's Day, V-Day, you know, so I never saw anything like that before, and when I got to sit down and enjoy the show last year, I was moved to tears like on more than one occasion. But it also was really funny and ridiculous at other times too. I would say it's good for anybody, you know.
Yeah.
Bring your hubby, go with your girlfriends. It's cool.
Right.
It's a cool show.
I think that sometimes humor gives people an entry into talking about the things that are difficult to talk about.
Right, and that's what Maeve is all about too. They're all about like starting a dialogue to talk about violence and talk about, you know, because there's so much secrecy in violence, and especially sexual violence. And so I think that that's a lot of the mission of this this group at Munson, is to start a healthy conversation so that it's not something that you squash and it eats you alive.
Right. You know, there's that saying, you're only as sick as your secrets. Mm-hmm. And I think it's very important to be able to share things with other people, and it's healing to get that.
For sure. I mean, that's what music has always been for me.
Okay,
you know, it's songwriting has always been that for me. That it's you get it. I mean, everybody always tells me, "Oh God, why are your songs half of them so depressing?" I'm like, because that's when I want to like pour my heart out. That's what I want to get it out there. You know,
right. Well, you know, and it also gives voice to people who may not be willing to express those things for themselves.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it, you know, but hearing somebody else express it gives them a little more power to say, if nothing else, you know, like me too.
Oh yeah, I've had people, you know, there's this one song that I had in mind to play today. I had somebody approach me after, and he like explained like how he had, you know, this partner, and he loved her so very much, but she had a lot of issues, and you know, it drove them apart. And that was, you know, he's like, he walked out during my song, and I didn't think anything of it, but he actually came up to say something to me like, "I'm sorry, like I don't want you to think I was being rude and walking out during your song, but like I had to leave because it like hit me in the feels and I didn't want anybody to see me cry." You know?
Yeah, God forbid a guy should be seen crying, right?
No, but it was sweet. I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah, yeah. So why don't you do another song for us?
Okay, let me, oh crap, I left my capo in my pocket. I guess I will try to play it uncapoed. I don't know how my singing will sound. It probably doesn't look good to run off the camera. No, it's like weird. Show, don't tell ship on stormy seas, and if you're going down, and so am I'll be drowning in your ocean. Oh, sinking underneath the wave. All these tears I've cried. Oh, and this love has left me battered. These angry waves, they just beat against the bow. And these sails, they're old and tattered. They can't take us anywhere by now. And I'm about to cast away. I'm about to cast away. I'm about to cast away. I'm about to cast away.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
It was kind of weird. I usually play it up way up here with my
Okay.
capo on the fourth. So it was in a way different key than I usually sing it in.
It came out well.
Thanks.
So, how did you and Amy Kiernan start working together? How did you?
Amy used to host an open mic in Sturbridge at the Ox Head
Okay.
on Monday nights, and I went to her open mic, and then like she came to my open mic, and then we started hanging out, and then she brought her kids one time, and I like hit it off with them, and then I started babysitting for her, and then we started
Okay.
playing together. So
All right.
it's kind of, yeah.
There you go. Speaking of open mics, you run an open mic, is that correct?
Yes, I do. I run an open mic in North Brookfield every other Friday. We're meeting tomorrow. Or, well, I don't know when this is going to air.
Yeah.
But anyway, we meet on the first and the third Friday of the month, and if there's a fifth Friday. But basically, the odd Fridays we meet, and that's at Stats Sports Bar and Grill in North Brookfield.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. So, have you made any recordings?
I have not.
Okay.
Like a little bit of demo recordings that I've done with the songs that I wrote with Jim, because Jim likes to send his stuff into the Nashville Songwriters
Right.
Association. Jim Cook, my friend, so
Okay.
he likes to. I posted about it on my podunk group recently, but they have a service that they do if you belong to the Nashville Songwriters Association, where you can send songs in and have them evaluated by professional songwriters. So it's kind of a
Okay.
cool thing.
All right. How do people get in touch with you to find out what's happening, where you're playing?
Well, I do have a Facebook page. It's Serena May Smith is my full name. So you'll see a picture of me on there. And then I usually kind of cross-share everything from the other pages I belong to, but I do have the North Brookfield Open Mic Night page, and then I have the Podunk Players and Songwriters Association. There's a lot of social media going on, but Facebook's a great way to keep in touch with everybody, and it's kind of organized, so I like to use Facebook.
Right, sure. So is there a question that I didn't ask that you wish I would have?
No, I think we had a great conversation today, Gary, and it was good to see you.
Okay, why don't you do a song to bring us out to the end of the show?
Song to bring us out. So many dreams that have come and gone. Painful memories make it hard to move on. Cool words I've spoken crawled up under your skin. When love is broken, where do can't pretend